My name is Stacy Miller. I am the senior therapist here at Oncologics. I actually started with Dr. Deland 17 years ago. When I started with my x-ray training at UMC, I started working for her part-time, cutting shielding blocks and doing miscellaneous stuff, helping out in the clinic, and I just stayed on with her. Radiation is basically like any drug that you would give to, like Tylenol or Advil or whatever kind of drug that you can give to a person. You can't obviously give them the whole bottle at one time. You have to give them a dose of it. Same thing with radiation. If you gave somebody, let's say, 500 centigrade, complete body dose, they would die within a week. Full body. So the less amount that you give overall body, the higher the amount of radiation that you can give over a longer period of time. Let's say a lung tumor. A lung tumor requires, of a moderate size, requires probably about 6,000 to 6,500 centigrade, or 6,500 rads, is how most people understand it, to kill it. But you can give a fraction of 180, which is a moderate dose. It's medium, that's what we do most of the time. You can give 200, which is a little bit higher dose. Or you can actually give as much as 250 to 300 in a fractionated schedule. Now we're doing things now what we call stereotactic radiosurgery, which is a very small area, just the tumor and the area right close to the tumor, and we can actually give 2,000 centigrade in 3 fractions, which gives you a real high tumor kill, but you have to be real tight, and the patient has to be real strictly immobilized, and it's quite dangerous, and it's quite precise. So this is what we call fractionations, the amount of radiation you can give per day for however long, which is typically about 6 weeks. So the way that they used to do is they just used to have a radioactive source in the head of this machine, and they would just open up this little door and the radiation would just pour out. But now we actually have beam radiation that we can control the intensity of the beam, and we can control how the beam is deposited, so we can actually give treatments and just go completely around the patient, depositing energy as we go. It goes right through the patient's skin and is deposited right at the tumor. So they have a lot less side effects from the radiation in their skin, in their mucosa, their esophagus, the way that they swallow and all that. We have a much better system of designing and delivering the radiation to the actual tumor and avoiding all of these superficial surfaces. But there are ways that we can implant a radioactive substance within the tumor itself and let it radiate from the inside out, so that the radiation drops off very rapidly and you don't end up treating a lot of the surface of the patient. You treat from the inside out. We do something we call intraoperative radiation, which is radiation delivered at the time of the operation, which they take the tumor out, we put a device inside the cavity left by the tumor, and then radiate again from the inside out. It's better if you don't have to go all the way through the patient to treat the sensitive structures, or the structures that don't need to be treated. I mean, sometimes you just have to. That's the only way you can do it. But we prefer not to if we don't absolutely have to. And it's actually the way that the radiation is delivered is much better. The combining of different modalities, surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation together, all these doctors have gotten together, and if we attack it as a group now, instead of just, if you had cancer, you got radiation, and that was it. Or if you got cancer, you got chemotherapy, or they just cut it out, or whatever. All these people have now gotten together and say, look, we're going to come together as a team and attack this cancer, and you have a much higher result now. The incidence of early detection, pap smears, self-breast exams, all these things have greatly increased the cure rates of cancer. The earlier you catch it, the higher your chance you're going to be of cure.